Let the record show the regular meeting of the Board of Education has convened, and we're at 7:02. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Jocelyn, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? That's Jocelyn Hernandez.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
You want me to read that? This is. Okay. Okay, I'll do it, this is.
Right now, it still is. Okay.
Before we move any farther, we're going to introduce our new Rialto Unified School District student board member in the August board meeting when the next school year begins. But for tonight, okay, I'm reading what I have here. We have our scholarship recipient present, Jocelyn Hernandez, a 2013 Rialto High School graduate. And I should have read this earlier, but she led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, but I wanted everybody to understand that not only was she helping us out with the flag salute, she's also a recipient of a certificate tonight that we're going to honor her in just a few minutes, but it was passed out to me, and so we read that, but we're going to move right along. Congratulations, Jocelyn. Next, we have a report out of closed session.
The Board of Education approved resolution number 12-13-89 for release and reassignment of certificated management employees, and a copy of this report is available. The vote was unanimous. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Maria Lara as program specialist, Morris Elementary School, effective July 1st, 2013. And that vote was also unanimous. Is Maria here?
No, she's in Syracuse at her daughter's graduation.
Okay. When she returns, we'll be sure to have her here to introduce her to the board. That is all.
Okay. Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. Do we have a proposal to accept?
I propose we accept the agenda. We have some additions, Mr. President.
Okay, let's see, we're adding, discussion action item, reference J8.1-2.
You want to read that?
You gotta get this thing.
Okay.
You gotta get this thing.
Okay. An action item is not appearing on the agenda has risen that requires immediate action of the board and cannot wait until the regular meeting. The matter is approved as an approval of an MOU between the California School Employees Association, CSEA, Chapter 203, and Rialto Unified School District concerning the implementation of a classified layoff that the board has approved to take effect on July 1st, 2013. So in addition to that, I'd like to make a comment here that this is an emergency. That's why we're adding it. It wasn't included in the agenda. And under Government Code 54954-2, subparagraph B, this is an emergency situation which allows us to do this. We will have copies available for anybody requesting copies of this item that is not on the agenda, that is added as an emergency. Okay, with that being said, we've omitted reference J5-1, and I will read this. District is in need of a firm to perform a review of selected contracts and payments from 2009 to the present for professional services, construction, and other services. So that is reference J5-1, and we're omitting. Okay, let's see.
We're omitting or replacing it?
Replacing.
We're replacing it.
Replacing.
And then we're replacing that with reference J5-1, which is a different read, and I'm going to read this now. The district is in need, which I just read, of a firm to perform a review of selected contracts and payments from 2009 to the present for professional services, construction, and other services. The district is recommending contracting with the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, FIGMAT, to complete this contract review. FIGMAT provides a variety of services to school districts and county offices of education upon request. The district has requested that FIGMAT assign professionals to study specific aspects of the Rialto Unified School District's selective contracts and payments. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve an agreement with the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team to complete a review of the district's selective contracts and payments from 2009 to present for professional services, construction, and other services at a not-to-exceed cost of $8,500, including reimbursable expenses to be paid from the General Fund Board of Education account. Okay, so we replaced, we added, we have a proposed move by Mr. Martinez.
Let me repropose it since there are some additions. Let me repropose that we accept the agenda with the additions and amendments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Montez, second.
Are they voting on adding the MOU?
We're,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Mr. Board President, I hate to do this. On an added item that is necessary to put on the agenda, you must vote to put it on the agenda, and you must have a roll call vote. Since it's not 5 members here, you must have all 5 to say affirmative to put it
Okay.
on the agenda. You must have a motion and a second to put it on the agenda. It is a major, major Brown Act violation. Thank you.
Is John still here?
No, he's not.
Too bad. Mr. Pruitt, would you like to join us here?
Okay, okay. So, we're going to take a roll call, and I appreciate the advisement. So, Mr. Martinez,
Yes, sir.
we have a yea. Mr. Montez?
Hey,
Mr. Montez and Ms. O'Kelly?
A, but did we make a motion to do this?
I
propose we make a motion to accept J 8.1.
to add to the, to be
To add it
added to the agenda.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Okay, and we have first, a second on the roll call, and Mr. Montez, or Ms. O'Kelly?
Aye.
Ms. O'Kelly, and Mr. Montez, aye. Mr.
Aye.
Martinez, aye.
Aye.
And myself is an aye.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, Mr. Pruitt, a supermajority is required, right? Meaning 3 or more votes?
In a case like this where you're adding an item that has not been on the agenda for 72 hours and it's less than 5 members, if 5 were here, you only needed 3 out of the 5. But since you're operating tonight with 4 board members, you must have 4. It's less than 5 of your normal board members present, so you must have 4 to add an item to the agenda. You
So
can't have 3.
so if everybody agrees, then we're in the clear.
You're good.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, clear up any understandings. We're okay with the reference J8 1-2. Okay, so, moving right along, the adoption of the agenda has been passed. Next, we have presentations. Okay, number 1, we have recognition of Superintendent Scholarship recipient, Jocelyn Hernandez. And presenting will be Vice President Edgar Montes.
Thank you, Chairman, President Joseph Ayala. I'd like to, first of all, good evening, everybody. Buenas noches. I'd like to call up one of our teachers and coach, Joe Baca Jr., and also Jocelyn Hernandez Vega. Please come on up. For those of you who don't know, Jocelyn is a recipient of the 2013 Rialto Unified School District. On behalf of the Board of Education, she's received the Superintendent's Scholarship for $1,000. And just to say a few words, I attended Jocelyn's signing at Rialto High School, and I'm going to give her an opportunity to speak a little bit about that. It was awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I was actually assigned to a school in North Carolina for softball, and that's my dream. I'm going to be able to play and study at the same time. So, yeah.
Here's your certificate. And more important than the certificate is the check. Congratulations, Coach Baca Jr. Thank you very much for all you do for our kids, and thank you, Jocelyn, for being an example and a role model for the rest of our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, please.
Yeah, thank you, Vice President, Honorable Board, Superintendent, and public. I just wanted to congratulate Jocelyn Hernandez. I know that she was given an award. I wanted to thank the superintendent for giving the $1,000 scholarship. But one of the things I want to talk about is Jocelyn Hernandez, the person. People don't know she's actually a 3.8 student. She's an outstanding person. She's a churchgoer, a good Catholic. But most of all, what she did for the program, she was always committed, never quit. She went on a program that was 1 in 18, and she stuck with it, never quit. And one of the things that she did is she made history. She helped make history this year. She helped lead Rialto High School to the first ever SAL championship in softball. Give it up for Jocelyn. First ever in school history. And she was a big part of that. And one of the things I want to share, she was first team All San Andreas League. She was also the team MVP. And also what she did is she was all county honorable mention. So she received a lot of accolades. She was second team all league as a sophomore and a junior, first team this year. And actually we had a dedication at Rialto High School. Her number is going to be placed on the ball field there at Rialto High School. We had a great ceremony. I want to thank Edgar Montes and Mr. Ayala for attending the signing ceremony along with the superintendent. Thank you again for helping out this young lady and reaching out, because you're going to make a difference in her life. And one of the things the superintendent shared at her signing ceremony is she has one of the hardest jobs. She not only has to maintain her grades, she's going to be an athlete too, so a student athlete. And I'm very proud of her, and she's going to turn heads in North Carolina. All right, so we're proud of you. Give it up for Jocelyn Hernandez. Thank you.
I just like
Good,
to,
good choice, Superintendent. Thank you, Dr. Seabrook. Thank you.
I just like to say to Jocelyn and to all other students in our school district, you're a perfect example of what a student athlete is. A student first, and then an athlete. And we're really proud of you, and we wish you the best.
Very nice. Next, we have Measure Y Facilities Update by Mohammed.
I'm ready for my audition. Dr. Seabright, right here.
President Ayala, board members, Superintendent Cabinet, and all the audience. Tonight, we bring a report to the board, our Measure Y Series A bond project, and the status and up-to-date where we are and where the project stand as of today. The report I'm presenting tonight is a two-part. First part is all the update project status, which is I'm going to cover. Behind me will be our architect firm. She will present the Eisenhower project, which is a board you express interest and you'd like to know where we are with our Eisenhower High School project. She will cover the second part, so please bear with me. Beginning, this is the project we completed, and you can see the name of the project, starting Rialto Middle High School classroom additions and others. You have a complete report, I believe, in front of you. These are the projects that's already completed and using the bond money. Here's the pictures of the projects that are completed. You see the previous slide, starting Rialto Middle High School classrooms, interim housing, and others, as you can see the pictures as they're completed. Beginning slide 4, again, other projects completed, which is you see in slide 2, name of the project, our science lab, technology upgrade, Cole Middle School, and Rialto High School projects. Continue to the next slide, which is, these are the part of the completion of the Eisenhower High School projects. And you can see some of the completions of the high school, and they're on this slide. Now, the projects under construction is the beginning, slide 6, and this is the list of the projects that are currently under constructions, starting with the Culinary Art Academy and Engineering Academies. Some of the projects you may drive by, you've seen it with the status, and they're under construction, and I'll cover some of them. The expected date, as you can see, completion date of the first project, Culinary Art Academy, August 2013, and others. I can see that the date, expected date, coming soon. Eisenhower High School, as you can see, that which is, if I can point out, the last one in the bullet, we complete to be completed phase 1 and phase 2 by end of August. These are the project under constructions, the list you've seen, and they're to be complete by end of August, starting with Culinary Academy, Engineering Academy, and others. And the Engineering Academy, the pictures you see, it looks yellow, but it's a little bit look like the paint has been changed. The color will be similar to the Culinary Art Academy, but when you took the pictures, it was the earlier picture, so I want to make sure when you see it, you will not see yellow. Continue to the next slide. These are project under constructions, our Carter High School track and fields. As you can see, the construction began, and you can see where we are now. This is the Rialto High School track and field. Again, construction began. Sorry.
Just real quick, is that expected to be done in time for football?
They may miss, right now it's projected to miss one game. Yeah, lose one home game.
Good point. Yeah, we're moving forward, but I think we will not be ready for a season.
Just one.
I have a CM sitting in the back of the room, so I have a witness. Thank you. Continue to this next slide, a project under construction. This is our Eisenhower High School infrastructure and upgrade. You can see some of the projects currently going on that high school, and it's in the slide, this slide. Upcoming constructions, these are the list of the projects as coming ahead of us. Cali Elementary School, classroom additions, Casara, Jehu, and technology upgrade, and Eisenhower High School electrical and gas upgrade, which is phase 3. And I'll cover that, and you can see projected start date June 2014, completion August 2014. Here's a picture of the upcoming construction projects, and they're listed below. You can see the name of each of the projects. They're listed. Continue to the next slide. Here's a summarize how much money we spend year to date. I know this is a small font. You can see the bottom line. You can see we have a balance left, unobligated, unencumbered, about a little over $2.9 million, the bond money. And some of the project is not all bond money. Some of them we use other source of funding. But these are the list of the project and where the money we have as of May 31st, 2013, the remaining balance available for any other projects, which is not a lot of money. At this time, I want to turn over to Betsy Daugherty. She's a partner from Daugherty Architects. They're the architect of the Eisenhower project, and she'll cover the Eisenhower project. And Betsy.
Yes, thank you, Mohammed, and Bill Ralph will join me with District M&O. Thank you, Board President, Board members, staff, and members of the community. It's a privilege to be here with you this evening, and I think we all share a passion for Eisenhower High School. We also have our construction manager contractor with us as well, so if you have questions, we're prepared to answer them for you. Bill, do you have the magic clicker? Excellent. I'm Betsy Olnick Daugherty with Daugherty & Daugherty Architects, and we are looking forward to sharing with you what's going on at Eisenhower High School. Some of this work has been completed in advance of our involvement on the campus, but this is a brief list of a description of the scope of work: technology network upgrades, science labs, HVAC, and power, and those are really two different issues. Classroom and toilet facilities, much of that work has been completed. New performing arts centers in our future. HVAC in the gymnasium was accomplished last summer. As you know, we have a new stadium planned, and that's part of the master plan, and we have finished the conceptual drawings for that, and a synthetic track and field to go along with that work. So the original campus priorities as of February 2012 was the HVAC in the gymnasium, top priority, and that's been completed. The master plan, which has also been completed. Upgrading site electrical, gas, and HVAC, and you'll see some things that you already know about the fact that we have declining infrastructure, and that is a priority really before we can do anything else. And then following that will be the realization of a new stadium, a new classroom building with toilets, removing some of your portable classrooms, the new performing arts center, and really looking forward to a very holistic contribution to that campus. So this is what you are probably all aware of, and Bill and I have been working very closely together, and so of course Wes from Neff Construction and myself got a call saying, we have a little problem. Very first home game when school started and the lights blew out. Now, we knew that we were on the edge. We've known that from the beginning, and so it was a very, in a way, fortuitous opportunity for us to be able to deliver the urgency of the necessity for a power upgrade for this site. And then shortly behind that, I get another call from Bill saying school's starting in about a week and a half, and we're not making any ice at our cogen plant. And he was literally, and I love the slide down below, of course that's not our ice because we didn't have the time to do ice sculptures, but literally had to import ice to keep the campus up and running with
16,000 pounds of ice to keep it going for 3 days.
So the need for infrastructure upgrades came home loud and clear at the beginning of this last academic year. So there have been some completed projects, some which were done in advance of our involvement on campus, which include the swimming pool renovation and the interim housing. Then we came in and did the overall master plan. We're on a real short fuse to get the air conditioning and the gymnasium accomplished in the summer, and we were able to pull that off with a lot of teamwork. The science lab upgrades were something that was accomplished while we were on deck, but it was done by others. The wireless network upgrade was also done by others, and Neff Construction is currently bringing air conditioning into those rooms to make sure that we're cooling that IT equipment so that we have an up and running functional system. So that represents basically the Series A Measure Y bonds. And as you can see, we had a little help from a couple of other sources as well. The QEIA and the E-rate both have helped to accomplish that goal, which is almost $6.5 million to date. So just here's some photographs. The gymnasium with the air conditioning is on the upper left, as well as you can see the science classroom, some of the electrical work, the relocatable buildings, and the pool. So that gives you an indication of the scope of some of the work that's been accomplished to date. So we have a few things in process. We mentioned the HVAC IT. There are 7 rooms that have new telecommunications equipment. Those rooms need air conditioning in order to keep that equipment cool. So that work will be done before school starts. That was a must. Upgrading the site electrical and gas is under construction. We're referring to the first piece as phase 1. We're in the middle of phase 2 right now, so if you go out to campus, you can see all of the work that's being done on campus. And then the phase 3 of that work is actually then making the connections to the buildings. And that has to be done in phases because we're sneaking in there while the students are not there, because we are having to take down the power during the transitions. So we see that we'll be completing the site electrical and gas. The whole thing, phase 3, will be done by June 2014. One of the pieces of that work getting into the buildings does go to the Division of State Architect, so those plans will be reviewed and approved. And as part of that, there's the cost for that, and we are pursuing potential state assistance. Our feeling is that this is a safety issue, and we're hoping that the state will agree with us, and as a result, we have the potential of getting some financial support from the state, so we're pursuing that. Status and priority, that brings us down to our grand total. We know that there are permanent buildings that are in need of HVAC upgrades, and we've talked about the ice coming into the central plant crashing and burning. Our goal is to be able to ultimately take that plant offline, so that we will be providing package units on the individual buildings. And what does that mean? If you have a problem with one building, the whole site doesn't go down. So that's extremely important. It gives us a little redundancy. That is something that will have to be done over time. Once again, we'd love to think that maybe the state will agree that there's a safety issue associated here as well. So we're going to have a separate request. So this one may be a little more of a reach for us to see if we can get some help there as well. We look forward to being able to continue the work on the stadium. As I mentioned earlier, the schematic design is complete. So as soon as we're ready and the district has the money to be able to tell us to move forward, our hope is that we could get the plans done, get them into the Division of the State Architect, which takes time. Once they're approved, that approval is good for a year. So our goal is that when the bond money is available, we'll be shovel ready. So because we know that the economy, as it recovers, the prices may start to go up too. So we want to be able to get in there as quickly as possible to accomplish that goal. And we have 2 other pieces on the campus, and that's the new classroom building and the new Performing Arts Center. Very early conceptual modeling as part of the master plan. That's all the work that has been done on those projects to date. So these are some graphics from the master plan, which we'll just go through quickly. And I apologize that I know that the tags are small because I was sitting in the back of the room thinking, I can't see that with or without my glasses. So please forgive me, but this is a rendered plan of the campus to sort of orient you. Of course, you can see where the stadium occurs and the existing gym and locker rooms, baseball fields, band and music, aquatics, and library, all down at that end of the site. The south parking lot, and then as we come around, we see the play fields across the street, where the administration building and library is, our finger plan classroom buildings that are permanent, as well as portables, the quad, and our multipurpose room and food service at the north end of the campus. So that just gives you an orientation. This is the master plan looking at the overall arching features of the campus, part of what was completed in September of 2012. The next slide. shows us the electrical systems. So when you look conceptually what that means, we're really looking at putting a new electrical grid onto the campus with a new transformer, so we're working with Southern California Edison as well. Because when we finish, we want to make sure that we have enough power on that campus to support all of the new facilities that we see in our future. So we are designing this to be able to serve all of our future projections, so that we're not going to find ourselves short. Yes?
This is the master plan for the bond, right?
This is the master plan that we have done that is looking at the future of the campus, perhaps even beyond what is in this bond measure.
Where's the performing arts building?
We'll get there. That was just the existing campus that we showed you to start.
Okay.
So this, we're addressing each one and sort of kind of in a priority sequence. The necessity for new infrastructure, of course, is obvious. But if we'd love to think that right away you could see money being spent in the classroom that's going to come back to the students. Well, if we don't do this, we're kind of dead in the water. So I think everybody understands that. So that's the new spine. So beyond that, we are considering that as we're looking to replace the central plant, that perhaps we look at the kitchen multipurpose room building and bring that completely offline from the central plant first. When the modernization was done in that building, it was not a complete replacement, and it did not allow that building to operate independently of the central plant. Because of the demands of that space and the fact that all the students are using it, so if we did have an outage, we could put all the kids in the gym and in the MPR, we could accommodate everybody. We're thinking we want to do that first. So that puts it a little bit ahead of the rest, and looking at the administration and library HVAC upgrades as well, and then the rooftop package units that would go on the individual buildings. There will be no new HVAC in the relos, of course, because our goal is eventually they're going to go away. And they do have air conditioning as a part of them. Just kind of gives you an idea of what some of the rooftop units look like, and the goal being to completely replace the failing cogeneration plant with rooftop package units. That's what they look like. So here's our stadium, and as I mentioned, we have gone through the schematic design phase, and of course, like everybody else, we have big plans for the stadium, and we have a budget. So as we get into getting farther into the plan, we will be reconciling our budget with the scope of work, and so we want to make everybody aware that we have some wonderful plans for coaches' offices, team rooms, restrooms, and storage underneath the bleachers. And depending upon how the budget reconciliation works will depend upon just how much of that we can buy today. Question was asked about the master plan. So if we decide that we're going to accept an alternate and perhaps not build the whole thing on day one, it's master planned so that it can always come in later.
Also on the stadium, are restrooms going to be installed on the visitor side?
If you'll look, you can see that we actually have completely separate ticket booth, concession, and restrooms, one for home, one for visitors, on the opposite ends of the stadium entrance, and they each have their own dedicated entrance, one north and one south. Everybody will have their own place. Don't touch my stuff. And then this is just an image here of what our new stadium will look like, as well as an example if we're able to realize our full programmatic wish list for team rooms. This happens to be a team room that we did for Ventura High School in the corner, so you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. We're also hoping to replace all of our 47 relocatable classrooms one day. And we've developed a prototype classroom. You can see it here at the south end of the quad, which initially will provide us with 11 new classrooms with special ed on the ground floor, so that we can accomplish that from day one. That's 11 classrooms. If you go to conventional classrooms on the ground floor, there can be 12 classrooms. How many buildings does it take to replace your 47 classrooms? 3 more. So do we have enough money in this bond measure to do all of this? I wish I could say yes, but I think that's an unrealistic expectation. Our hope is that we can get the first one. And then as we start to peel off the relocatable classrooms, we'll be making room for our Performing Arts Center in the parking lot, because that first row is kind of in the way. So if you've been in that parking lot, you understand what I'm talking about. So this is looking at the new classroom building, first one with some quad improvements, and the additional ones would sort of march along where the relos are now, and we gradually start peeling them off. Performing Arts Center, we had talked about 2 significant locations, both along baseline, one at the corner to the left, and this one, and the reason that this sort of became the preference of the group is that, as you can see, it is a focal point of the circulation spine that's already on the campus. So when you're on campus, it's very prominent. It also has street frontage, so it speaks to the community, and its proximity to the stadium, the aquatic center, creates a whole events center that becomes the heart of all of the enrichment programs on the campus. And so as a result, rather than having it kind of over by itself in the corner, the thought was, let's bring all of this together and we can have a very exciting focus of all of these events right at the end of that spine on the campus. So it becomes a real focal point, and that is sort of what drove this location. So we hope you're as excited as we are about the future of the Eisenhower campus, and we look to be elevating it to new heights. I'm a local Inland Empire girl and went to a high school that was in a similar situation about the same age. So, of course, it was a few years ago. But I certainly, I kind of know what the challenges are, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have the privilege to work with you to make this happen for Eisenhower. So thank you.
Slide 28 and 29, the new proposed multi-story classroom building to replace portable classrooms.
Yeah.
It's one size on one and one size on, a different size on the other. So it's expandable, or what is the plan there?
The first one is there, in terms of square footage, and I don't know why they're different sizes, and you have to show me where it doesn't look the same. It could just be a scale of the image. Ah, that's a good question. That actually, and I can explain that to you, because we had a little, we had a little pie in the sky concept, and that larger one is a picture of it. If I had my druthers, I'd love to take, and I don't know if I should even mention this, but I'd love to take that existing building that right now has the weight room in it and the coral. I would like to kiss that building goodbye and incorporate it into the new classroom building. Move the choral program over to the Performing Arts Center and open up the campus entrance to the north side of the stadium so that you have a more significant entrance to the stadium. We all got very excited about that, and that's what you see. The reality is, if you take something away that you already have and you're now adding another piece and more square footage into your program, your dollars get gobbled right up. So that's why that is an image from the master plan that explored that option. So we are moving without exploring that option at this point, but if we made a decision that we were going to take the entire program and tuck it under the bleachers at the stadium, and then when we built the Performing Arts Center, and we did a few conceptual plans and threw some dollars per square foot at them, and the fact of the matter is, adding a choral room and music room adds square footage, increases the cost. Suddenly we've busted that budget big time for the bond measure. The other but is, we can design those buildings so that they can accommodate those future additions and growth, so we can sort of reserve the opportunity, and someday that can happen. So that's kind of where we're going with that. But it's an excellent question. Thank you for saying that, because you can see how much thoughtfulness has gone into this. Bill has been at the table from day one, and he's been a tremendous resource, and the fact that we have our contractors, our partner, and we can get real about these budget numbers early in the game has been a tremendous opportunity. So we would like to conceptually think, whatever we do, we can also plan for the future, and someday, if that building goes, imagine the entrance you could have for your stadium, for your home. Be awesome.
I just want to point out that Eisenhower.
Mrs. O'Kelly, if the board can use the microphone for the video purposes, because on the screen it looks funny, it looks like she's talking to nobody. So if you guys can have a seat up there, thank you so much.
Now that we're done,
I was going to say, Saida, do I really need a microphone?
this is magical voices.
I don't want to go back.
Now you can use your mic, so that would be good. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Saida.
My point wanted to make, because of obviously where my heart, I have to be careful here, but Eisenhower tends to have the best talent in the district, and Yeah, you know, I don't know, but that whole building that you referred to is a mess. I don't know if we can refurbish it or do something, but our band and choir need something, so.
It's quite obvious when we toured the campus what that campus could benefit from, and so it's just a matter of money. But if we do our planning correctly and even create our new facilities correctly, if we can't afford it today, we're going to reserve a spot for it tomorrow so that we can easily expand our facilities, and it'll still work.
The one thing that I'd like to say, upon arriving here, the district, rightfully so, has not addressed the needs of Eisenhower High School, even the last bond that passed. And it's the flagship of our school district among our high schools. So if anybody recognizes that we've done anything with our money, they're going to look at Eisenhower. So we have to make sure that that school reaches all the promises that these pictures have afforded us to see, because otherwise we'll be judged as a failure. And I'm sure my name will be at the top of the list. So I want to make sure we give the attention that Eisenhower deserves and to make it right.
Not just yours, Dr. Seabram, ours too.
Well, you have me on the board, so it's got to happen.
Thank you all for the opportunity.
And we thank you, too. Next, we have superintendent's report.
I'd like for Dr. Levine to announce the starting lineups for our elementary schools for the year 2013-14.
The administrative lineup is as follows. Bemis Elementary, Principal Danielle Osandu-Aguike, Program Specialist Dicelina Van Bell. Boyd Elementary, Principal Marina Madrid. Casey Elementary, Principal George Bennett, Assistant Principal Joanna Cuellar. Curtis Elementary, Principal Vince Rollins, Program Specialist Alberto Gutierrez. Dallahan Elementary, Principal Daniel Husbands. Dunn Elementary, Principal Fernando Navarrete, Assistant Principal Thomas Bashaw. Fitzgerald Elementary, Principal Linda Miner. Garcia Elementary, Principal Ramona Rodriguez, Program Specialist Yolanda Jackson. Henry Elementary, Principal Sylvia Braggs. Hughbanks Elementary, Dr. Monty Stewart, Principal. Kelly Elementary, Adam Wagner, Principal, Mitzi Moreland, Assistant Principal. Cordiac Elementary, Chantal Anderson, Principal. Morgan Elementary, Leonard Buckner, Principal. Morris Elementary, Marianne Thompson, Principal, Mary Lara, Program Specialist. Myers Elementary, Kathy Knowles, Principal. Preston Elementary, Robin McMillan, Principal. Simpson Elementary, Connie Richardson, Principal, Kathy King, Assistant Principal. Trapp Elementary, Dr. Eric Witherspoon, Principal. Warner Elementary, Sherilyn Scott, Principal, Assistant Principal, Roxanne Ulivari.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have public hearing, comments from the floor. This time, any person wishing to speak to any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes to make a presentation. Dr. Wallace?
We have one, Gloria Pena.
Good evening, Board, Cabinet members, Superintendent, and audience. I'm here this evening. It's my last board meeting, but the first day of my beginning to be a retiree in the leisure world. I wanted to thank you all for providing my family with 30 years of home and shelter and food for their bellies, and I truly appreciate working here at Rialto because it's a good place to work. It's a great school community. I have made many, many good friends here, and I have seen so much growth in the district. Dr. Seabram, with the community, I've never seen so many families involved at the school sites with their sports and with the programs that we've provided for them and the academics, and it's just been a pleasure to be a part of that. And I was really thrilled to see Eisenhower getting all of these renovations because I'm an Eisenhower graduate. And I'm really happy to see that we're spending some of our bond money on Eisenhower and getting it up to par. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all. And you all have a blessed year, and I will be coming back to help Saida with the Ritz in the future. And just thank you so much.
Next, we have comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak to any item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes to make a presentation.
No.
And we have none. So we'll continue with item 3, public hearing, notice of consideration of the adoption of 2013-2014 budget, reference J2.1-2. Next, we have D, public information and correspondence. There's a reminder, the next meeting of the Board of Education is scheduled for Wednesday, July 17th, 2013, at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Dr. John R. Casalunas Educational Center.
Board President, if I recall, we might be switching that date possibly to July 15th, but we'll send out an email notifying our staff and the community.
Thank you, Vice President Montes. That is a possibility. So we will send out notices in case there is a change on that date. Next, we have the consent calendar action section. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the Board of Education to be routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board considers the motion unless members of the board, the administrative staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar.
Mr. President, if I may, just 1 minute. If it's okay with you, I'd like to introduce our special guest and just so the community knows.
Absolutely.
Some of you might have seen Mr. Pruitt come to the podium earlier. I'd just like to pay respect to this man. Mr. John Pruitt is a former governing board member himself, and he is here because the board has asked him to assess us a little bit and give us a little bit of advice and whatnot. So if you guys see him jumping in the discussions and whatnot, he's here because we asked him to be here. So thank you and welcome, Mr. John Pruitt. And then also I'd like to thank Officer Jones with Rialto PD for joining us here tonight. You guys are always welcome here. Thank you very much for being here. And of course, I'd also like to recognize our own peace officers as well, Officer Rodriguez and Officer Verdugo, who are here along with Mr. Leary, our Chief of Safety and Security, who are always here to join us as well. So thank you all for everything you do. Thank you.
So next, thank you.
Do we or
Vice
don't
President
we?
Edgar Montes. Next, we need a proposal to approve the consent calendar. Ms. O'Kelly? Let me see here.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned those already, didn't we? Because we're looking at, oh, yeah. Do we have any pulls at this time? Ms. O'Kelly?
Yes, I do. H3.
Okay. Kelly, H3, we'll come back. Vice President Montes, do you have any pulls?
I do not.
Clerk Martinez, do we have any pulls?
Not in this section, sir.
Okay. With exception of H3, can we have a vote to accept the consent calendar as written?
Motion.
Motion.
Do we have a motion?
I propose that we accept reference E through I of the consent calendar.
Okay, so we have Mr. Martinez. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second by Ms. O'Kelly. Vote by the board.
I had
Aye.
a poll.
With
on all the-
exception
all
of
the other
H3.
Oh,
items.
on all the others. Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we have 4-0. Okay, now let's return to H3.
I had questions on a couple of these contracts. The first one being School Loop, consultant to provide content management system. And Dr. Seaborn, can you fill me in or have someone?
Dr.
Can we
Levine?
get a motion did you have a motion, a request?
I just want.
she's asking a question right now.
We're in discussion of the item that I pulled.
Okay, but you were asking for, we're going to
Direction,
get some
please.
help here.
Excuse me, since that item has been pulled, you need to make a motion to take that item by itself. A
Okay.
motion.
Okay,
a
I thought we
second,
did
and-
that, but,
No, you have to take them individually once it's been pulled.
okay, so that item has been pulled.
Yes.
Now, we're going to make a motion,
That item H3.
H3, to assess it?
To be that, motion to H3, do we have a move, someone move it, second it, and then discussion,
discuss
and
it.
come back to you?
So,
That's what I
okay,
thought
so
we
we've
were.
pulled it. Now, do we have a motion to assess H3?
Yes.
And that is,
I propose we make a motion to assess
Okay.
H3.
I second.
I'm lost.
okay, and Mr. Martinez has seconded. And then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So now we assess H3.
Okay.
Dr. Levine?
Yes. As you know, Rialto Unified has a website, and each school has a website as well. And when you have websites, you need to have a host of a website. And I'll ask Mr. Sosa to come on up and explain what we were using before to host our website, and what we're proposing now as far as School Loop to be the host of the district and the site's website.
Thank you. Good evening, Board and Honorable Superintendent. For the last 7 years, we've been using the eChalk system as our school and department web hosting. So in other words, that's the system that has all of our web pages. And we have a separate web page for the Rialto.K12 that has some of our content on there. The contract for eChalk was quite costly, and so over the last 2 years, the staff has been looking at ways to reduce that cost for a savings onto the district while still getting the same functionality for the school district. And so we were able to find a provider to give us the web hosting that we really need, and our community deserves to have that service at a significantly reduced cost. So this contract is for $11,000 for web hosting, $3,500 of which is initial training. So in years going forward, we propose only $7,000 a year, which is quite different from the $43,900 a year we were paying with eChalk. That was what categorical money was paying. We also had 85% of the contract being picked up by the federal government under E-rate, which was over $110,000. So aggregate, that was about $140,000 contract that we've been able to whittle down to $11,000.
Wow.
So it's a significant savings to the district while being able to provide a much better product for our community.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice.
Excellent.
I also had questions on 3 more contracts.
Okay,
And
but we need to conclude on this item first before we move.
It's in the same.
It's in the
It's
same,
in the
it's the
same
same
thing.
item.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's-
Sorry.
These are contracts requested by categorical programs that I have some questions about.
Okay.
Miss-
Ms.
Ro-
McIver?
Robin?
Which ones are they, Ms. O'Kell?
Well, the first one, Cayenne Systems. And I guess my question there, first of all, do we currently have these programs?
Yes, we do. We currently utilize KN Systems.
Okay, and it manages Title I?
Yes, it does. It keeps a better record system of our supplemental educational services. all of the student databases, all of our, it allows us to be more electronic. Every single provider that we have in the district, whether it's 30 or 60, we communicate with them via email. We're able to pull reports. I'm able to email them individually if I see that they are not servicing students. And it allows me an electronic way to monitor every student contract that's in our supplemental services. We have over sometimes between 1,200 and 1,400, and I actually approve every single student learning plan. I read it, and if there's something that I have a question on, I am able to send it back to them, email them, and give them direction on, or either ask questions or give them direction on a different path for a student.
Okay,
Can't argue that.
so this sounds beneficial.
It is beneficial. Would be going into maybe our third year utilizing that system, and it's streamlined everything in one section, but it's allowed me to have a better handle on what the board is usually looking at in terms of the cost. We do spend 20% of our Title I set aside as mandated. It's over $1.45 million. So it gives me a way to monitor what these providers are doing and really look at what services our students are getting.
Okay. Basically, same question for Key Data. Is that a contract we currently have?
Yes, it is, and I'm going to bring Dan Sosa up to talk about Key Data.
Thank you. Key Data Systems is a data partner that Jen Harper and I have used for a number of years, and it's one of the services of which we give services directly back to the schools. We give them our raw data, and they scrub it, and they give us the best projections that we have for our CST, and so that the schools can make those database decisions.
And this is the company we have been using,
Yes,
right?
we've been using them for a number of years.
Okay, thanks. And last one, Mrs. McIver, My Learning Plan.
My Learning Plan is what we went to. Actually, we changed this product for, like Dan did, for a more cost-effective product, but we found it to be beneficial for professional development. It tracks every single professional development that we have in this district for every administrator, teacher, or paraprofessional. Teachers are able to sign up for the different offerings that we have in the district, and we're able to produce schools with viable reports on what teachers have gone to trainings, what trainings they've attended, and teachers can also monitor this themselves as well. So it really helps us in monitoring that professional development. It also supports our Title II plan because when they come to audit our district or review us, they're looking at staff development, and at a fingertip we can pull reports and data for every single school in this district.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We okay now, Ms. O'Kelly? Okay. So, do we have a proposal now to accept H3?
I propose we approve H3.
Second.
Do we have a second? Okay.
So moved.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have a 4-0 on H3. Okay. Next, we have facilities planning items.
J.
Excuse me. Action items, starting with J. Action items will be enacted in one motion unless members of the Board of Education request specific items to be discussed. Do we have a proposal to accept J through L?
Do we have any polls?
Do we have any pulls? Ms. O'Kelly?
Yes, 2 and 5.
Okay, 2 and 5. Vice President Montes?
Yes, 1. And 4.
1 and 4. And Clerk Martinez?
My concerns can be addressed by the previous polls.
Okay, with exception of item 2, 1, 2, 4, and 5. Can we get a proposal to accept the remaining items?
I propose we accept items J through L, excluding 8, is it J, 1, 2, 4, and 5?
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we have 4-0. Okay, so let's start with Mr. Montez, Vice President Montez. Item 1. We start with 1. We have to, we pulled it, so now we have to vote on accepting the discussion. Do I have a vote to accept discussion on item 1? Is that correct? That's what we did on the last item. Do we have a proposal to, for a motion for item 1?
I propose we discuss item 1.
Correct. And we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we discuss item 1.
I just would like to ask Dr. Seabram, if it's okay with you, I'd like to ask Dr. Wallace, since I don't see Alejandro here today. Is he? I'd like to. I just have a question regarding how many therapists we currently have. I believe it's 15. I'm not exactly sure. And how many more are we planning on hiring? If we're planning on hiring any more, and how many students do we serve?
Alex?
All right. Let me repeat that for you.
Yeah, thank you.
This item that we're being asked to approve is to contract between the Rialto Unified School District and Envo Healthcare Associates Incorporated to provide speech and language therapists to the district at a cost not to exceed $250,000 effective July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2014. So it's a contract for this next school year that we're coming into. And my question is how many speech therapists do we currently have? I want to say 15, but I could be wrong.
14.
Okay. And are we planning on hiring any more?
We're actually, I heard your previous question about how many total students we have.
Yeah, and also how many students are we going to be serving?
You know, I wasn't prepared with those numbers today, but what I can tell you, I can give you an average.
That'd be
With
great.
14 speech therapists to start the school year, we're going to be slightly over the education code of 55 students per speech therapist. So we're already going to need additional staff to start the school year, because our average is going to be above 55. That's with
Per speech
14.
therapist?
Right. Can't give you the exact numbers of students, but that's
Right.
what the average is when we figure that out. So the Envo contract is to bring back 2 contract speech therapists that we used last year through the same company. So the two of the 14 are 2 Envo therapists. One was at Warner Elementary, and the other one worked at 2 schools, Preston and one of our middle schools. So we're bringing back 2 qualified speech therapists that we used last year with the contract.
In order to make sure we're in compliance.
Right. The one benefit with using contract staff is if unexpectedly our numbers dip, we can give 30-day notices to those staff and enter contract at that time.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you very much for that item. But since Alejandro's there, and item 4
Okay.
is related.
Okay, hold on. Let's
Okay.
refer that to the superintendent. And Dr. Seabram? One second, he's communication.
Aren't we supposed to vote on this?
Well, we can
now?
finish
Yes,
this
yes.
one. If anybody else
Yeah.
has.
Let's go ahead and finish this.
I propose we move to approve item 1.
Second.
Okay, do we have second? So we have second by Vice President Montez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have item 2 that we pulled, and we need a motion.
President Ayala, may I
No,
please
no,
draw your
no,
attention?
No, not yet. Let them do what they need to do.
Okay. Do we have a motion to accept item, for motion 2?
To discuss.
I propose we discuss item 2.
Okay, we have a
Second.
second?
That's not a
All in
motion.
favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's carry on with the discussion. Item 2.
Okay, this is kind of more of a comment than anything else. We get this in our packet, 4 or 5 days before the board meeting, and most of us don't have a degree in accounting or finance, and can't make a whole lot of sense out of it. And I know we have a board workshop scheduled for the end of July on the budget. I just wanted to state I really would have appreciated having this before we have to approve the budget, and it's time sensitive because, I can look through it and gather certain information, but, it's not exactly easy reading or enjoyable. So, I just.
You are correct, Ms. O'Keller, especially for a budget the size of ours. There should be some explanation. Do you have any comment, Mohammed?
Well, the budget that you have tonight, the board, you're right, Mrs. O'Kelly, this is a time sensitive. We are required by law to submit the budget by June 30th, which is this Friday. And as you know, the governor hasn't signed the budget yet. We believe he's going to sign tomorrow morning. That's the latest update I have. We can wait for tomorrow or Sunday. He has until June 30th to officially to sign all the budget bill. The bottom line, the budget you have tonight, you have to approve this, and any changes comes up. The governor signed official budget by June 30th. We'll bring it's called 45 days revisions to the budget, to our programs, our districts. Any changes we will bring back to you for further approval. So the budget you see tonight is not all built based on governor's plan and legislature's approval of the LCFF funding model, because no details are available at this time. What are the conditions of those funding? What that mean for our districts? How they're funding earmarked for English learner, foster kid, and others. So nothing is available. This is because of the timing of this and the lateness of the decisions of the budget. We can't bring that plan into our plan. So what we advise by the state and the county schools and other that we need to do best case and worst case. So what we have present to you like a traditional model of the budget and build some of the items such as COLA and lower deficit. Those are safe to use, apply to our plan. But seeing the budget, as I'd like to draw your attention, J2-2.
I know.
And if you've seen this, I highlight and bold that this budget not built on based on local control
Right.
funding formula. And also I'd like to draw attention that our budget has an ongoing structural deficit. Even though I built a COLA and a lower deficit, and I'd like to draw attention that because I don't know what is LCF funding, how much it's going to bring to us until we get all the details available. That problem may not be a problem, but I'm just giving you what you see today. And this budget is presented to you tonight as an approved budget, meaning when we file to the county tomorrow after your approval tonight, we'll get approved, certified by the state, by the county. And any changes further going to reflect how our 3 years plan looks like. Do we have any further deficit? Do we have any structural issue? Do we have to cut any further programs or anything else? So it is the best case order we can bring to you tonight
Right.
for approval.
I want to add something. I agree with everything you said. But I want to apologize. I want to apologize to the board. Anytime a board votes on a budget, they should have an opportunity to hear in detail or answer any questions without having to go through this. If we would have that opportunity, we would not have had to hear your speech tonight. So we'll do better.
Okay. That was it. I just wanted to make that comment. So I propose we approve item number 2.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay, so, there we go. We had a proposal, and we're going to turn this into a motion, and motion to accept.
Mr. I apologize interrupting you again. The requirement is you have to open public hearing, invite for the public to comment, then you close before you can act on it. I apologize for interruption.
No, that's okay.
That's a requirement, but
No, that's okay. We're here to make sure we do things.
We would like,
keep 'em in order.
it would help us if you guys can include that in the agenda next time.
is there.
C3.
Oh, okay. Do you want to read it, or?
I've got, well, this is, okay, this is another item here, though. We're working on,
Under public hearing, it has a
Oh, that's right.
public
We-
hearing about the adoption of
That's
the
right.
budget.
We did cover it. We did cover it.
But you have to open and close.
Okay.
For public comment.
Then you can take action. Sorry.
okay, I'm a little confused
Mr.
here on
President.
what we're doing here now.
Mr. President.
Yeah,
Mr. President, may I?
Sure, please.
Let me help you out a little bit here. Need a motion to open a public hearing.
That's simple.
That simple.
Okay.
And
Can we get a motion to open public hearing?
So move.
in a second,
We have a
I
second?
second it.
All in
discussion
favor?
from the public. Seeing none, we will close.
Okay.
Oh, we might have one.
I'm sorry. There you go.
Hello, my name is Donald Mendoza. In regards to the budget, it says assumptions. Nothing's set in stone until the governor signs that budget.
Correct.
Once he signs that budget, you guys will meet again. You'll have all the definitive numbers, and then you'll move forward what's in the best interest of the district. So, I mean, next year you're gonna have the same issue, and it's all based on just assumptions. So, maybe this exchange wasn't really necessary. I agree with Dr. Sebring, what he said, maybe next time, next year, you'll get the information a lot sooner. You guys can meet and discuss it, but it's just all based on assumptions. And, once you get the definitive numbers, you move forward, and maybe this exchange won't be necessary, and you guys will have maybe a better understanding, a clearer picture of what the budget is, and then just move forward. Those are just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I'd just like to add, I believe this is worst case scenario, whether or not the governor signs the budget, correct?
Based on what we know as of now.
And then also, most likely, we're going to have to bring this back amended or changed in some form?
Yeah,
the budget, yes.
the budget required of any changes of going to reflect on our programs and the funding. We have to bring 45 days, revise and bring back to you. Yes.
And we have a deadline to meet by tomorrow with the county?
The deadline to file this adopted budget is June 30th, which is Friday.
Okay.
So, and we don't have any further board meeting. This is the only board meeting. That's the reason you have until now. We assume the state will act on the budget much earlier date, so we could bring all the detail for you for discussions prior to act tonight. But that didn't happen.
When they do, we'll revise the budget and bring it back to you for approval.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, can we get a motion to close public hearing?
You have a motion, just ask to close it.
Asking to close.
Aye.
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 Mr. Martinez and Mr.
Aye.
Montes. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So we close public hearing.
Public hearing is now closed.
Okay, so we need a vote still on J2. Okay, so we need I believe we had a motion,
A proposed.
a proposed motion. So now can we get a motion to vote on J2?
I make a motion that we approve item J2.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we're done with J2, and now we're moving on to J4. And we,
Mr. Pruitt,
go ahead.
can you clarify something for us? Because
Yes.
this was all based on our discussion today, and obviously we're a little confused. Okay, the president has to make the actual motion, am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So we say, I propose.
No, if we, I apologize to the public. I gave the board a lot of information in a short period of time. A lot of information, and tonight is the very first time, and they are trying it after a couple of hours. So I apologize that I didn't get this information to them much sooner so they can have it. The only time you use a proposal is when you want to change something that's already
Yeah,
present.
it's my understanding any of us can make the first motion.
No, only the chair can carry the motion and open it. Only the chair.
To change.
No, to carry the motion to carry it through. And previous meetings that I looked at, everybody's making motions. Only the chair can say, I, may I have a motion, so move, a second, discussion, you discuss it, and then you vote. From that standpoint, when you propose this, let's say the item says we're going to have 28 days of furlough. That's just an example.
Watch out.
Whoa.
We should have warned you.
I just want to see who was awake, you know. And someone might say, you know, that's kind of extreme. I propose that we have 0 furlough days. You can propose to make the change. Then the chair, whoever the chair is, usually the president, because he can give the meeting to someone else, says, okay, we have a motion to amend item, whatever it is, to 0 days. He's changed it, but the board member has proposed to make that change. You only use propose when you're making a change. The way it is now, so let's put it this way. You got the agenda. Let's drop the propose for tonight, you know. Okay. And just go with your motion. I so move. A second. Discussion. You discuss it. Once the discussion is done, okay. Then we'll take the vote. 1, 2, 3. ABC. Motion. Second. Motion. Move it. Second. Discussion. Vote.
So I need to rescind my motion and let.
Hey, I
President-
like that.
and let
That's
the
up to that.
president.
Very good, sir. Very
Okay.
good. Yes.
So I rescind my motion and
Okay.
allow.
Very good. We're on item 4 right now. We're on item 4. And do we have a motion? Or we've already pulled it, okay, because we wanted to carry on discussion. So let's open up the discussion on item 4.
Sir.
And you, okay, so we have the clerk of the board, Mr. Martinez.
Yes, I'm concerned at the cost at this time. I have no problem going through this. Having fiscal crisis management assistance, that usually comes along with the stigma that we're in trouble, and we're really not. That's one concern. The second concern is the cost, again, at this time. We're trying to bring as many people back as we can, and once that is done, I'd love to see it with that other concern still there. Mr. President.
Okay. Any other comments on item 4? Go ahead, Vice President Montes.
Thank you, Board President Mr. Ayala. For clarification purposes, I'll just go ahead and read this resolution for the members of the public and our community. This item is a special education program in-depth review. And it's asking the district is in need of a firm to perform an in-depth review of its special education program operations and make recommendations for improving the program as well as implementing the recommendations. The district is recommending contracting with Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team to complete this in-depth review. FICMAT provides a variety of services to school districts and county offices of education upon request. The district has requested that FICMAT assign professionals to study specific aspects of the Rialto Unified School District's special education operations. These professionals may include staff of the FICMAT team, county offices of education, the California State Department of Education, school districts, or private contractors. The scope and objectives of the in-depth review will include but not be limited to the following areas: program effectiveness, number 1; program efficiency, number 2; special education transportation, number 3; communication, number 4; and within that we have parent communication and interdepartmental communication, and then number 5 is fiscal implications. FICMAT has estimated costs for this in-depth review will not exceed $49,000, including reimbursable expenses. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve an agreement with the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team to complete an in-depth review of the district's special education operations at a not-to-exceed cost of $49,000, including reimbursable expenses, to be paid from general fund and special education program. This item was submitted by Mr. Mohammed Islam, and if you could, Mr. Islam, just elaborate.
If you could refer to Dr.
Yeah.
Seabram.
Dr. Seabram, I apologize. If it's okay with you, I'd like to ask Mr. Mohammed to elaborate a little bit on what specifically this item would try to do.
If you ask me, I'll direct them to elaborate on it. Or whoever would best answer it. Right now, it'd be Muhammad to do that.
Thank you, Dr. Seabram. This item presented to you tonight upon your request. As you recalled, you expressed some concerns about the special ed programs and effectiveness of the program for our students and everything within the program. So upon your request, we engaged and request for proposals, and we bring the best proposals tonight for your consideration and approval tonight.
And in your opinion, is FICMAT one of the best, if not the best?
They're the best on the special ed program in the statewide.
They're the best with a lot of them.
Yes.
I just would like to say that if we approve this in-depth review, it would clear the air regarding concerns brought forth by parents whose children are students of our district, special education students. We just approved the contract to bring in some extra help for our speech therapists. We just also approved previously tonight to pay for transportation for some of our students, some of the parents who choose to drive their students to different schools outside of our district who require special types of learning and instruction. So I think by us approving this in-depth review, it would clear the air, and if there's anything that we are not doing correctly or we can do better, I think it'd be great to have somebody as professional as FICMAT to take a look at it and say, hey, you guys are doing good here, but over here you might be able to do a little bit better. And I understand cost is a big factor, and 49,000 is 49,000. But even if it was more, if there's a need to make sure that our students are getting the best education possible that we can provide them, I think we want to make sure we're doing everything that we can to assure our community and our parents that we are indeed doing the best for our students. That's all I have. If anybody else would like to add.
Any other comments on J4?
No, just that I agree with Mr. Montes.
Okay, if there are no more
discussions,
then I call for a motion.
I move that we accept, or we approve item number 4, J4.
Okay, and do we have a second?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye. So we have 3-1, and no vote by Clerk Martinez. Next, we have the last item, that, other than one that I'm going to read out at the end. We have J5 that we pulled, and it's open for discussion.
Well, I had a concern. The first concern was in the original write-up, because it's been altered. It's been revised, I guess I should say. That the special education audit item is referred to as an in-depth review, but this one is not, and it refers to selective contracts. My original request was to to review all contracts between 2009 and 2012. And then realizing that might be a lot of contracts, maybe to amend that to those that where the total amount paid to the vendor or the person or the company was $5,000 or more. If that's selective, that's okay, but selective kind of implies that we're going to pick and choose which contracts we look at, which would kind of defeat the whole purpose of this. That's my concern. I also have a concern, the difference in price kind of indicates that this is not going to be nearly as intensive an audit as the special education audit, so I don't know if it's going to accomplish anything. And the price has been reduced even less. And then I guess my last concern here is, it's being paid for out of the Board of Education fund. Well, I'd kind of heard rumors we had a fund, but I didn't know anything about it or how much was in it but it would be nice to know what we have in the fund and what it can be used for. I could use a vacation, but,
This,
Please.
I didn't know we were going to do. It's going to be paid out of general fund, just like the other one. The other thing we were looking at is originally you had the board members that expressed certain areas, certain contracts that they wanted looked at, and so we could save ourselves some money by following you. If you know the ones that you want to be looked at, we'll look at those, because otherwise we'll go through every contract that was approved before board members were added to the board, plus all the ones that you have approved. He'll have to review all of those. So it's just a scope that we want. We'll do whatever you ask. If you have certain ones that you want us to look at, regardless if it's 20 or whatever it is, we'll look at those. Because if we say we're going to look at all of them, I would imagine this price is going to change. And the other thing that we had in there, our purchasing policies and processes,
Right.
we already have auditors looking at that. So why add this to this guy to come in, or whoever it is, to do something that someone else has already done? So we'll review every contract or a payout of anybody that you guys want us to do. We'll list all of them, and that's what we'll do. Because they could come in and make a fortune out of us looking at a contract with $6,000, and it was approved, it's routine, we do it every year. There's nothing for them to look at. But there are some that you have concerns about, and we just want, when we say selected, we weren't going to select them. We wanted the board to select them. If you have certain ones that you want to be looked at, you tell us that.
Okay.
Because we're not going to select any of them.
Okay.
We'll follow the directions that you guys give us.
I did have something about that. I think I've never heard any kind of review of our procedures, but it might be a good idea for us to just go ahead, since that was included in the original write-up. Especially because if any of our policies could be viewed as questionable or ineffective or something, maybe we need to set new policies or revise them, so maybe we should include that in the package.
Yeah, I don't recall, I agree with Dr. Seaborn. I don't recall the purchasing policies, processes, and procedures being ever questioned in the past, but since it's on here and staff is recommending it, then maybe perhaps it would be a good idea to, have professionals take a look at our purchasing policies, processes, and procedures to make sure that we're complying,
Okay.
with all.
So, might I propose that we just amend this item or the revised item to, keep this the same, but to include the scope that was in the original item?
Okay, do you have a copy there?
Yeah, the
It's on the
original,
agenda. The original's on the agenda, yes.
right, it's under section J.
We'll do that. You can do that. I just want to caution the business department, don't treat me like this again. Don't make me spend dual amounts of money for the same thing. I have to live with that, and I have to report to these guys. If we got auditors here now that's supposed to be doing the same thing, why would we write a proposal to do the same thing with someone else? That's all I ask of my staff. Don't put me in that situation. We wrote it this way, we'll do it this way.
Okay.
Okay,
So you make a motion to amend?
I make the motion, she makes a proposal because she wants to go back to, please.
I propose that we approve the original item as it was published in the agenda.
Okay. Do we have a motion? We have a proposal?
Question.
Question?
We need a second first.
Isn't there something that we have to do? We have to bring back, rescind this, and then bring back the other?
Thank you. If you're going back to the original, you rescind what you were about to propose. So if you have a motion, you rescind anything that was on the table
Okay,
before.
so I will
And since it was
publicly,
not on there, just go with your regular
I will
motion.
publicly rescind.
No,
the-
no, you didn't have a motion to change it. It didn't go through. So what we want to do, what item is it?
It's J5.
We would like to have a motion on J5, and someone will say so moved, and someone else will say second, and then you've already kind of discussed it. You drop that and then you vote. It's 1, 2, 3.
Okay, sounds simple to me.
Yes.
Can we have a motion on J5?
I move we move to approve item J5 as it was originally submitted
Do we have a
in the
second?
agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye. Okay, the last item here I'll read out is the discussion action item 8 that was not on the agenda that we read earlier. It's to approve an MOU between California School Employees Association, CSEA, Chapter 203, and Rialto Unified School District concerning the implementation of a classified layoff that the board has approved to take effect on July 1st, 2013. The MOU is to delay the implementation of the layoff until July 15th, 2013, so it must be addressed before July 1st. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the MOU.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Okay.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
I would like to introduce our new Director of Risk Management, who is here tonight, Derek Harris, and he will begin work. He will start working for us on July 8th.
Well, my lord, it's a risky business.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Item M will be scratched. Next, we have comments from members of the Board of Education. Ms. O'Kelly.
Well, I'm not looking forward to the heat that is coming because I don't like heat, but we all have to deal with it. So we have a few hot days coming. But I hope everybody is enjoying their summer. I'm enjoying my new grandson. He's absolutely perfect, of course. And we have a lot of fun with him. I would also like to just apologize for the confusion tonight. We're trying to make sure we're doing everything right, and we did, as Mr. Pruitt said, he gave us a lot of information today, and we got some of it mixed up, but we're going to do our homework and work on that. So thank you all for coming tonight, and enjoy your summer.
Well, thank you, Board Member Ms. O'Kelly. Next, we have Board Member, Clerk of the Board, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, President Ayala. I just want to thank everyone for attending, thank CSEA for the MOU, thank REA for working with us as well. Get some rest, try and stay out of the heat. And Mr. Pruitt, thank you so much for your guidance, and it's invaluable. Mr. President.
Thank you. Next, we have Vice President Montes.
Thank you, Board President Mr. Ayala. Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches. I just would like to thank everybody here today. You know, it's summertime over in my neighborhood, just down the street. While I'm gone at work, I'm going by to the house to check up on it because I know there's a lot of teenagers out of school right now, and some of my neighbors are getting toilet paper, coming home to toilet paper on their trees or eggs on their windows. So I'm, you know, just cruising by to make sure, you know, some of the students ain't mad at me for whatever reason. And I also, again, would like to thank our police officers that have been helping us with our meetings from Rialto PD, and also our own peace officers. And again, I'd like to thank also Mr. Pruitt. I will say this, Mr. Pruitt, I have my own copy of the Robert's Rules of Order, and I have a parliamentary procedure book. And I will, if anybody knows, I will be keeping a close eye on the information and advice that you are giving the board. So thank you again. I look forward to learning from you, and you know, and I think the board appreciates really what you're here to help us with. So with that said, I also would like to give thanks to Dr. Seabram for his choice in this year's Honorary Superintendent's Scholarship Award. Jocelyn Hernandez is very, very well deserved of that scholarship award tonight. And I'm sure there's many other students, and too bad we have budgetary problems, otherwise we'd be giving more of those $1,000 scholarships to our students. But thank you again for that, and to everybody here tonight, thank you, and have a good summer.
Well, thank you, Vice President Martinez. I'm so
Montes.
proud. Montes, I've said that twice now. Just want to make sure you're awake.
That's Mr. Montes.
I'm so proud of this board, and I'm so happy everybody's in a good mood. But we are risking to improve, and so that we can provide better services to our community and our students. Obviously, we keep our kids in our minds at high priorities. Okay, they are why we're here, and I want to remind everybody that a few simple thoughts: kindness counts, and it's important to establish priorities in our lives. Okay, and to keep it short, when you're talking to somebody, if they're talking about somebody else, then they're probably talking about you also. And you know, it's easy to say us and them, but you know what? It's not us and them, it's us. And we're here in Rialto, and we're proud, and it's okay to make a mistake, you know, but we're going to make them together, but we're going to improve. And we thank people like Mr. Pruitt coming all the way from Chino to help us out here in Rialto. And with that said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjournment at, what is that, 8:40?